more important than what's on written in the bullet point.
That's right.
That's what they'll remember.
Yeah.
And just to let you all know, I know we've probably got somewhere around 40 or so plus people registered for today. Or I'm not quite sure. I won't go into the details. A lot of people register, and then sometimes on these town halls, they come or they don't show up. We record these town halls, just so you know, because a lot of them will register and then watch it on our platform later. And then everybody that's registered will take our information, the information that our presenters provide, and we'll get it out in a personal email directly to everybody that has registered or asked for it.
Okay.
Okay. The town halls, just so you guys know, have been a public service to not only the Women's Chamber members, but the entire community. We decided to do those back when the pandemic first started. We were doing those basically weekly to give updates from experts in the community of things that impacted businesses or organizations, so they could hear all the updated stuff. We did it weekly, and then as things started to reopen, we went to monthly. So we've made a decision this year to continue monthly because we still have 25% capacity. Eventually we'll go to 50% capacity, hopefully soon. All of these things that'll be changing. So we're bringing, and now vaccinations happening at different levels, because I was on the governor's call yesterday on stuff. So, you know, there's going to be certain segments of our population and the community that will be vaccinated at different times. So there's going to be questions about that from our members and the business community. So we will continue to do these on a monthly basis and have different speakers at any given time. If PPP is a thing, we're going to toss people in. So it's kind of a proactive agenda. As soon as we see changes, we'll add speakers to it the way we need to add it, so that people can have those resources available in the community and to help them assist their businesses.
Yeah, my friend Karen Hazelhurst, she owns Colorado Fun magazine. She said this morning she got the COVID shot, and she said her arm hurt so bad from it.
Yeah, we're actually going to have Centura Health experts on coming up in the next one, and we're also going to be, you know, there's going to be a lot of legislative stuff changing with the new administration coming in. So we will actually have representation from our political officials on one of the calls, as well as we see things come up. So just want you to know that we're constantly evolving and making sure that we could bring like the hottest and latest news that comes up on these town halls. Again, it's free for our members and free for the entire business community.
That's great, Lola. And you can hear me okay?
Yeah, we
I
can
don't
hear
need
you.
to just-
Okay. You're good. Sound check.
Okay.
Terry, you're good. Terry, you're our MC today, right?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Terry's good. And Yemi, we heard you okay, loud and clear.
I'm good. Terry, what's the order?
You're going first, Jimmy.
Okay, right at the beginning.
We'll do just a couple welcome and thank you to our sponsor, and then you'll start right in
Okay.
after that.
Thank you.
And then typically, Yemi, the format is we have any of the speakers speak for about, I believe it's 15 minutes or so. And then we have questions at the very end so that people, and they can put it in the chat box, or they can ask the question. And then we have our MC, Terry, kind of making sure she's checking on all that, and everybody else is as well on the team. So we should have you covered. I typically, just so you all know, for those of you who are new to this, I stay on after we get past the first hour, just in case members have any specific questions or needs from the chamber, from the Women's Chamber, that they want to speak to me about or schedule. You don't have to stay on after that, but I keep it open floor in case anybody wants to get in touch with me.
By that time, we stop recording too. So if you want to ask or talk about something that is not going to be recorded, that is your opportunity.
Except for the dogs, right?
Yeah, listen to all those dogs barking.
I thought that was mine originally because I've got 3 big ones. I brought them in. They're all being quiet and it's barking loudly. So,
Yeah, Julie's pulling the Thursday afternoon shift.
And she just jinxed herself because she said they're not barking.
well, welcome to everybody who's just joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We have quite a few people here that are on their not videos because we're up to 21 participants, so we don't have that much in the way of pictures.
About another minute or two before we start. So Terry, you know the agenda. We'll get ready to roll here shortly.
Is Candy now a truck driver? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I was gonna
It's not a truck. It's much quieter than a truck would be.
Oh, can you give us a little honk? Honk, honk.
I'm in a parking lot. If I honk right now, 68 people are going to jump.
Don't do that then.
I just left an appointment, so I'm logged on in. Okay, now I can.
There you go.
Happy?
Yeah.
See, it's not a big truck horn.
I was expecting the Mexican hat dance. Da-dun, 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 da-dun.
I tell you, my husband used to have an Auga horn on his MG. And it was the funniest thing. Auga. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's sexist now. Jeez.
What an Auga horn. Why? It was so cool.
Auga.
Yeah, I tell you what, if somebody pulled out in front of him or did something dumb, you know, where I would sound like a longshoreman as long as I'm in a car all by myself, he would Auga horn them. So, which was probably much more gracious than if they could have heard me. So
There you go.
So, you want to start recording? Okay, it looks like you did. So I'm just welcoming everybody to the Southern Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce Town Hall for today. We have 3 different speakers today. Yemi Mobilade is going to talk to us from the city. And then we're going to have Brandon and Eileen talk to us about the new funding that's available. So if you would like to take over, Yemi, he's been with the city now for what, 2 years, or is it longer than that? Time just flies when you're having fun. Yemi, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Terry. And I know Terry. Terry actually sits. Terry and I sit on a nonprofit board together. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you all, even those that are joining in from the vehicle. Happy New Year to you. Even though the year may not be happy, we're going to make it happy. Let me tell you, let me start my presentation. Give me a second here. Okay. Can you guys all see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Yemi Mobilade. I am the Small Business Development Administrator for the City of Colorado Springs. Among other things I do in the community, I've been with the city going on 2 years, not quite 2 years, but going on 2 years. I come to this role by way of being an entrepreneur and a business owner myself. I co-own the Wild Goose Meeting House and Good Neighbors Meeting House, both in the downtown area. but my primary work at the city is to serve as a liaison from the city to the small business community to assist businesses with navigating the regulatory processes. When you've never done it before, you don't know what you don't know. And so I'm the guy that small business owners would typically hit up. I connect entrepreneurs to the appropriate business services and ultimately try to increase our small business friendliness by utilizing new technologies and processes that will hopefully address some of the small business challenges in our community, and to collaborate with all the myriad of agencies to keep improving customer service and hopefully increase the speed of development. There's a group of people that you should know. This is just an incredible group of people. They're called the Colorado Springs for Small Business Advancement. This team has actually grown. There's probably about 20 people now on this team. We meet on a monthly basis. It's made up of entrepreneurs, business service organization, every business service organization, government agencies, business advocate. We meet on a monthly basis to answer the question, what else can we do to make Colorado Springs the most small business friendly city in the US? That's my ambitious goal. And we continue to better provide support to the small business community. And that's the people that surround me every month. And so if you ever have any problem, need any help, you can always reach out to me. I can connect you with the city clerk, planning and development, and other folks that you need to know and connect with. My next slide is just to say, hey, COVID sucks. We're all in this together, and hang in there, especially for small businesses. Ultimately, I would have loved to do a different, maybe you guys will have me back, because I would love to do a presentation of the work this team is doing. And there are a few products you need to know that have been birthed out of this team. But my presentation today is really on what's urgent and what's right in front of us. And that really is the COVID small business relief opportunity. Brandon and Eileen will be talking a little bit more on the federal side. But when you think about the small business relief options and opportunity, think of them in buckets: federal, state, and local. Those are the three buckets of the opportunity that we have in front of us. And so it's key. I feel like I'm having echo. Oh, it's better. So federal, state, and local. It's also key for you to stack them. I don't know, hamburger was what came to mind. Maybe I love burgers. I am in that industry. So think about stacking a pancake, stacking a burger, and the more you have on the stack, the more you can eat. Because maybe one of those, maybe a single type of opportunity may not be sufficient, but when you stack them, the whole makes makes more of a difference. So let me just run through what these are quickly, starting with local. All right, so local, the what? We have the city of Colorado Springs and El Paso County are both offering sales tax rebate. City is 2%, El Paso County is 1% on your taxable sales for up to $70,000 a month. So I don't know where most small businesses land, but they're gonna cap it at $70,000 a month, which for the city, that equates to about $1,400 a month. And for the county, that equates to about $700 a month. And this is strictly for restaurants and bars and food trucks and taverns. You know, folks have been the most impacted by the public health restrictions. And you have to prove at least 5% loss, which shouldn't be hard to do. And it's from third quarter of 2019 to third quarter of 2020. You need to apply a W-9 and a copy of your most recent Colorado sales tax. And for more information, where to find that, I have that listed and a number you can call. I'm certainly happy to share this presentation with Lola, Terry, and the rest of the team so that they can forward to you if you want. Okay, so that's local. Let's go with state. State, there are three different ones. The state is offering liquor license fee waiver for new applications, renewal, for COVID-19 modification fees, all waived. For restaurant, cafes, bars, distilleries, club, you have to contact the Colorado Liquor enforcement directly and where to find information. I have that number. And also you can contact, if you're intimidated by the state, you can start with our city clerk. She is more than willing to help you as well. And the information is on the screen as well. Next, on the state level is also a sales tax rebate. In fact, little fact is that the city and the county is following the lead of the state. One of the roles that I serve also is I sit on Governor Polis's Economic Resiliency Council. So I am one of 12 advisors across the state that meet with the governor every 2 weeks, and we're talking through how best to reopen the economy. And many of these state stimulus and tax rebate opportunities were discussed in that circle. So the state led the way around the sales tax rebate, and then the city and county followed. So from the state side is 2.9, same. It's up to $70,000, and the period is between November and February. It's for bars, restaurants, and mobile food vendors. How you have to file the regular sales tax form, the DR 010100. I also have the links directly for the application also on this presentation. The third and final state opportunity, hopefully you are aware of this already, is the Small Business Relief Funds, also called the Pikes Peak Small Business COVID-19 Relief Program. It's done from the state through each county or municipality, and will provide relief funding up to $7,000. It's somewhere, I think the lowest you can get is $3,500, and the most you can get is $7,000. And it's businesses that are showing more of a significant loss, 20% of revenue since the first shutdown. And this is for restaurant, bars, distilleries, caterers, movies, gyms, recreational sports center, and you have to apply online. And this one is time sensitive. Applications are due by January 29th. So if you have any friend in any of these industries, please let them know to apply right away. The reason why it's time sensitive is because the Senate bill calls for it. The governor wants to release the funds as soon as possible. There's no reason for the state to sit on that money. Businesses need it today. So to apply, it's through the Colorado Enterprise Funding, Colorado Enterprise Fund, and the application link is there. And I should say this opportunity is a collaboration between the state, county, the Colorado Enterprise Fund, and the Pikes Peak Area Council of Government. So it's backed up by a number of just great folks. Okay, federal. That's a third bucket.
I don't want to
Oh.
be,
I know, but you're gonna see it, right?
I'm sorry?
Somebody, if you please mute yourself. If you're talking in the background, please put yourself on mute.
Thank you, Lola.
Thank you.
So the third and final bucket, again, we have 3 buckets, local, state, and federal. So hopefully by now, everyone's familiar with the PPP. Congress has passed another round for up to $2 million in loans to cover your payroll costs, rent, utilities, and applications resumed this past Monday. There's 2 different categories, and Brandon would probably talk more about this. The first draw is for people that have not yet applied during the first 2 rounds. And the second draw, which started yesterday, is for businesses that have exhausted all the initial loans. And some changes the second time around, you have to be less than 300 employees, and you have to be able to show 25% reduction in revenues. You can't, this is not an application that goes to the government. You have to go through your lending institution. The government, the feds gave priority to the CFIs and now to community banks. Yay, Brandon's on the call. I'm a big fan of what they do. And so community banks, credit unions, and that really started yesterday. And so by Tuesday, the program will be in full-blown operation. So I just passed a lot of information to you. If you're wondering where you can see where this information is collected, the Pikes Peak Small Business Development Center the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC, and the Colorado Springs Chamber, the Colorado Springs City Economic Development, which is my office. Also, we all have that information on our website. The Women's Chamber also has some information on their website as well. I did look it up. So that's also a place if you're trying to figure out where do I start to find all this information. Again, the key is to stack the opportunities. That's super important. Don't just go for one, go for all of them if you can. Now, I understand many of these opportunities favor the restaurant and bars, and partly because they've been the hardest hit. And so if you're in that industry, you know someone is in that industry, please encourage them to pursue it. So why is stacking important? So let's add it up. So let's just say you apply for the waiver for the liquor license fee. It's not that much. It's about, it's 400, 500, 750, 800. If you're applying for a new license, it's about 14 to 15, and that's waived completely. But if you already have if you already have an existing license and you're renewing, if you're a brew pub, that's about 750. If you apply for El Paso County sales tax rebate, that's $700 a month times 8 months. So they're doing it over an 8-month span. So if you do it over that 8 months, that's about 6,000. If you did the Colorado State retention, that's about a 4-month span. So that's 2,000 times 4, 8,000. City of Colorado Springs is 1,400. Over a 4-month span, that's $5,600. An average of the small business relief fund would be about 5,000. And then the average of the payroll protection plan is about 65,000. No, small business relief fund is 5,000, not 500. And PPP is 65,000. So you're looking at upwards of just under 100,000 if you add those together. Now, I know this is just an example. Everyone's story is different, but just to give you a window into what it looks like to stack up opportunities. So stack them up, stack them up, stack them up. Other resources that you should pursue in the season, COS Open for Biz. This is for folks that are trying to open a business for the first time. This product lives in my world. We're constantly updating that site. It provides step-by-step roadmaps for the entrepreneur that's never opened up a business in this city, and really hands them a playbook. Size Up COS. It's a very important one for all types of business, whether you're starting or you've been in business for a while. You have access to free market research and data about companies and the landscape of Colorado Springs, and it helps you make better informed decisions, business decisions, and advertising opportunities. I've actually used this for my business, as it's interesting. You compare how you size up against the rest of the community on employee, on pay, on revenues, and it's a fascinating tool. I highly recommend it. And the one that is most pertinent for this COVID season is Bundle Up for Small Business. It's a collaboration of a number of folks, and it's a campaign. I'm sorry?
We're almost out of time.
Okay. It's a campaign for the community to keep customers coming back to your business, and a cold weather toolkit for the house helpful information. For example, if you need to retrofit your outdoor spaces. So I am at the end of my presentation. I just want to end with a quote. It says, I love this quote. It says, "You're allowed to scream, you're allowed to cry, but never give up." We're living in hard times. Our world is just weird, but stay hopeful. Remember that we're not the first folks in the history of the U.S. to really go through hard times, and we will overcome. So stay positive and don't give up. And I'll be at the end to help answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Yemi. So we'll move on to the next part of our presentation, which is going to be co-presented by Brandon and Eileen, and they're going to talk about the programs that you can apply for right now. Brandon, you're going to start for us, please. You're still on mute.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
And can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. Well, welcome everybody. And I will tell you, Yemi, this is round 2 of PPP, and I have laughed and I have cried a lot through these. So they are, they're a unique type of loan / grant out there that when we first started doing them, and we said how we were going to calculate loan amounts in the very beginning, I remember somebody saying, we're going to use 941s. And I said, what the heck is a 941? So I quickly learned what payroll taxes are and how that gets calculated. And what a unique experience. I've never done a loan before with a 941. So anyhow, I'm Brandon. I'm with the Vector Bank of Colorado. I manage the downtown location. I've been in banking now 10 plus years, and I've been in leadership and management roles for about 20 years in Colorado Springs. We did do the first round of PPP loans, and we are fired up and ready to go for the second round. And Eileen, I know that you guys did a bunch of work on that as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aileen Barrios. I'm Senior Vice President at 5 Star Bank. I've been in banking many, many years. At 5 Star is a small community bank. We did do the first round of PPPs, and we've already started on the second round as well. You know, happy to serve our customers. It is very interesting times. It is, I agree, you know, I've been mainly crying, and it's just been very difficult. So, you know, my heart goes out to these all businesses that have been really affected by COVID. So hopefully this gives you some relief as we go more into the new second round of PPP. Hopefully that helps small businesses as it is intended to do.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the second round looks like. And then Eileen's going to go into what you need to do to prepare. And then we'll wrap up with what do you need to do to actually apply. So if you guys all remember Donald Trump signing something saying he thinks we all should get $2,000. Well, guess what? This PPP was also signed as part of that legislature. And a couple cool things came out of that. But the first and foremost is they added a $300 billion pocketbook into this fund. And so it kind of piggybacks off of the first round. But what it does is it tries to kind of delineate some of the harder hit businesses. And so what we're asking is that you are able to show a 25% reduction in revenue for one of the quarters in 2020. So that's generally going to be a year over year metrics. And, you know, obviously Q2 was probably the hardest hit for a lot of folks. But that can be shown through a couple different mechanisms. But that's one of the major changes to the eligibility this time around. They did reduce the amount of employees that you can have from 500 to 300. So if you did not apply for the first round and you have up to 500 employees, you could still apply. But if you received it and you're on the second wave of this, you need to have less than 300 employees. I think that'll help conserve some of the funds in that so it doesn't run out as quickly, and it'll allow for some of those harder hit businesses to participate. What's really neat is last time the chambers were not allowed to participate. They did open it up to that. And if you're a nonprofit, we can do those as well. Forgivable expenses for PPP have expanded into other options. So in the first round, you could spend 60% of it on payroll, and the other 40%, as long as you used it on overhead, so rent, utilities, and phone payments, you would have the rest of it forgiven. This new round, they've opened it up to a couple additional things like PPE, if you had to buy some equipment. Now, ultimately, the loan covers 24 weeks, and so the idea is that most of it's going towards payroll anyhow. The next thing is the loan forgiveness. If you received a loan in the first round, or if you're planning on getting one this time around, if the loan is less than $150,000, the applications for forgiveness are simplified and a much easier documentation. So we're not asking for a lot of supporting docs with that. It's a one-page application, so a lot more simple. And that is actually a huge relief because the forgiveness portion has actually been the most challenging for most of my clients. And effectively, this is going to make it a lot more smoother for them when they go to apply for that forgiveness. Specific funding for independent live venue operators, including eligible independent movie theaters. That's going to be another element to this that I'll share some details at the end. So that pretty much covers what it is. Eileen, do you want to go ahead and take our next slide?
Yep. So what you need is, if you're an established business for first time, it's February 2020 if you're a first time applicant. If you're a second time, obviously you've already been in business in 2019. So you can go through your current bank. Any SBA lender can take your application. There's advantages of using the same lender if you're using 2019 payroll. So they do give that choice in this one. If you're going to use 2019 payroll and you don't want to use 2020, you can do that. The caveat is go to your same lender. You do not have to, so you can use your 2020 payroll. And again, you can use your 940 form, your 941, or a P&L. So any of those, if your P&L includes, payroll, you just divide by 12, and that's your monthly payroll. So it's pretty simple on how you calculate it. There are caveats to that. So if anyone, including the owner, makes over 100,000, you have to cap it at 100,000. So you want to make sure when you do your calculation and you're using a total that you deduct any salaries that are over 100,000. Okay, and then it's always good to document all your expenses. So other things included: retirement benefits, healthcare benefits, that type of thing. He already went through the list of items to include. Remember, 60% on the forgiveness piece needs to go towards salary. You still can pick 8 weeks or 24 weeks. I have had some customers pick 8 weeks. That is completely up to you. 24 weeks pretty much covers 2.5 months worth of payroll, and it makes it easier, but it is up to you. When you submit it to your bank, every bank varies. So one bank may ask for this thing and another bank may ask for something else. But in particular, be prepared to include your P&L that compares the 2 quarters. Okay, so I'm down 30% quarter 2 in 2020 compared to quarter 2 in 2019. You cannot mix quarters. Okay, you can't do quarter 1 and quarter 3. It has to be the same quarter. And it needs to show 25% or greater less gross revenues than the prior year. So you can do the entire year. If you say, okay, my quarters are down, I just want to do the entire year, it's easier for me. As long as your entire year is greater than 25% or more, then you qualify, and then you'd want to send your year-end 2019 and also include your 2019 tax returns for verification, and also your 2020 P&L for that year. So some people, believe it or not, I checked with the SBA, but if you had a quarter where you were less in that quarter, 25% or greater, but year to date, you were not 25% less, you still qualify. Okay, so they are looking at it per quarter and not necessarily per year. So, but you can use either or. Okay, you can use the quarter comparison or the yearly comparison. Sole proprietors and independent contractors, you can use your Schedule C. Contact your bank on the specifics of what they want to prove your income. With sole proprietors or independent contractors, sometimes on that Schedule C, it's your net income divided by 12. That's how they did it. now the SBA loan specifically, it is an unsecured loan. The SBA is securing that loan 100%. So there's no personal guarantees, there's no collateral, there's none of that stuff. You are verifying information on that application. So I'm looking at the application and there's a lot of questions there. Do not overlook those questions. They are very important. And you need to certify that your yes or no's, okay? And you're initialing those and you're assigning those. They're very important. They could disqualify you for the PPP program. So, make sure to take care in reading those questions. There's quite a few, and you're initialing and certifying all of them, okay? But once you read them, they're pretty basic SBA questions. And I think that's it. Unless anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask your specific questions.
Yeah, so I did create a couple more slides here. And so first and foremost, both Five Star Bank and Vectra, and I'm certain other banks out there are already accepting their applications right now. The SBA is opening up their portal to the banks on Tuesday. So that's the good part, is you have now until the end of the weekend to kind of get your ducks in a row, work with your bank and try and get those applications in if you feel like you're eligible. And if you didn't take advantage of the first round, that is still an option for you, as mentioned earlier. So I would encourage you guys, if you didn't see it as an option before, if you didn't know about it, really look at your books and say, is this something we could do now? Because every dollar that we pull in from the PPP to Colorado, whether it's at Vectra or Five Star or wherever you bank at, it's money for our community and for Colorado. So I encourage you to really think about this, because every stimulus money that comes from this gets siphoned into our community, and it's a big deal. So Five Star, I believe you guys are taking applications, the paper application.
Yes, we actually have a portal. We use SageWorks Analytics, which is an online portal. So you actually complete it all online at your home. We are taking applications right now. We get opened for Five Star, we're a community bank, less than $1 billion. If you're a community bank bigger than $1 billion, it's Tuesday. But for less than $1 billion, the banks can submit as soon as tomorrow, so Friday. So if you have not applied, you need to start working on your applications. Do not wait, start on it now. You can pull down the forms. You can ask, anyone for the forms. We can send it to you. That way you can look at it, you can practice and be ready to apply. But we specifically use an online portal for ease, and then that talks direct to SBA. So it just makes it smoother for us, or for everyone, actually.
And we have our contact information there as well. And Vectra Bank is doing ours online as well. And you do have to have a bank account with us. So if you're thinking about going with us, you do need to reach out to me so we can get that set up for you. As Yemi had, we have a couple of additional resources here. The uschamber.com, they talk a lot about the expanded employee tax credit that's out there. They spend some time talking about EIDL, the IDLs, and then the grants for shuttered venue operations. That's a great resource. And then I always send people to the Colorado SBDC website. Vectra Bank's a proud sponsor of them, and they do some amazing, amazing work in our community. Free consulting, practical training, business resources. They facilitated a ton of those EIDL grants. We are so proud of the work that they do over at the SBDC. So thank you. If you're involved with them in any way, shape, or form, we are greatly appreciative of your efforts there. So with that, I don't know if we are taking questions now, Terry, or if we need to wait.
Yeah, we can open it up to questions now. Thank you, Brandon and Eileen, for sharing that information. So if you have questions for either Yemi or Brandon or Eileen, please put them in chat or indicate that you want to ask questions so I can recognize you. We do have some other members that are banks as well. Bank of Colorado, Eastern Colorado Bank, US Bank, as well as Five Star and Vectra, and Academy Bank and Wells Fargo are all participating in these loans. Anybody have, okay, so I'm not seeing any questions in chat. Yemi, did you think of something you wanted to add that you hadn't been able to cover the first part of your presentation?
No, I think I covered most of it, but I'm happy to answer any questions regarding any of the benefits. Well,
Right.
the federal one I will hand to the experts, Brandon and Eileen. But
Right.
the other ones I've done a good reading on them. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I did get-
I just want to point out one thing, Terry, is that we forgot to mention that on the PPP loan amount, it's 2.5 times average payroll unless you're in a NACES code of 72. And a NACES code of 72, you get 3.5 times your payroll. I think Brandon did cover that, but I just want to emphasize 72 NACES code is travelers, hotels, casinos, bed and breakfast, RV recreational park, campgrounds, food services, restaurants, caterers. Anyways, there's quite a bit of services in 72. So if your NACES code is 72, you get 3.5, you get more money than others. So, but all businesses can participate, whether you're a first time or a second PPP borrower.
Yeah, that's right. I did get a question in regards to forgiveness. So the first round, your bank is going to be specific on how they want to do the forgiveness. We've certainly started processing forgiveness applications in that first round, but with this new legislature, with the new application coming out for loans under 150,000, if you were in that bracket, it's almost best to wait until that comes out because it'll be a simplified form. So the question out there was, are we able to ask for forgiveness yet? Most banks what we're doing is you have your draw period, which is either 8 or 24 weeks. And then you have a 10-month deferral after that period of time to put your forgiveness package together. Aileen, is that as well for you guys, 10 months?
Yes, that's correct. You have 10 months after the date of your SBA loan funded for PPP round one. The SBA is working pretty well in forgiving these. We've submitted quite a few. I would say half of ours are forgiven already. They're pretty fast. They've used a third party, and so they're going pretty fast. So if you haven't asked for forgiveness, get with your bank, definitely apply for forgiveness. The new rule on the second round of PPP is you just have to use the money. So if you haven't applied for forgiveness, but you've used your first PPP funds towards payroll, you qualify to apply, okay? So you don't need to wait till you're forgiven to apply for round 2 of PPP. I just want to clarify that, as there was a little bit of confusion on that. And there is a simplified form out there for forgiveness, as Brandon mentioned. For 50,000, it's out there, but they are increasing that to 150,000. So if you're 150,000 or less, you can wait, or there is an S form that it's pretty simple. I actually filled one out, and I'm like, this is not so bad. I think I could do this. So the long form, it's bad. You might want to get some help from your CPA. The long form has to do with if you've lowered the FTE, or if you've lowered your payroll a certain percent. So definitely get either your payroll company involved or your CPA involved if you're a person who has to fill out the long form. It's a little bit more daunting, but most people are going to be under either simple or the other easy form, easy and S for simple. And those are not that bad. So I think most people can figure those ones out. So
you filled it out. Is that just to get some practice, or you just needed to?
I actually knew what the 940 and 941 form is. Actually, no, my husband and I own a business, and so we applied for round one of PPP, and we own a very small business. So that I have practice on both sides.
Well, look at that, guys. I mean, she's not only generating the loans, but she's a recipient of them as well. So that's
I
pretty
don't know. That sounds kind of interesting. Hey, I just want to chime in there and bring Yemi back into the conversation of grant opportunities. Because as much as these loans are great and there's a part of forgiveness, there is also that we serve 70% of our membership serves small business. And, you know, I have taken tough calls this last fourth quarter from women-owned businesses who are just want to share this with everybody on this call. Women-owned, women in business, we have seen 150,000 women being impacted in just the job market, period, in unemployment and all that. There has been a gain, about 16,000 gain in job opportunities for our male counterparts, but women are being affected in a big way just because of all of the dynamics that this pandemic has impacted them. And not only are they owning businesses, some of them have businesses, but they also have to balance that work life with, you know, childcare and everything else with school shut down. So it's truly a big impact. So when we're looking at opportunities, Yemi, we're looking at grant opportunities. And I know the city and El Paso County has done a phenomenal job of taking some of that CARES Act money and sharing it with our members. And I know our businesses have filed for that. The 7,000's got a quick time limit on it. Is there anything else that you are hearing from the city level or at least the county level that you might be able to speak on that might be additional grant opportunities coming up in, besides the $7,000 that's available right now for those selected industries?
That's a great question, Lola. Yeah. Thanks for framing the problem too. I think that's really important to understand what we're dealing with. And I'm a little bit like Eileen in the sense of that I work in this role, but I also have a business. So the benefit is being able to, I'm also desperate there. My business partner handles our operations. I don't do any operations, but it's also a great testing ground for what else do we need. If there was anything else, so the current county, to answer your question, the current county's small business funding is really from the state. And I sit on Governor Polis's Economic Resiliency Council. So if there's anything else coming up, I know what will be coming down the pipeline. I don't know of anything right now, but we had a call on Wednesday and he did mention that perhaps the state might be a beneficiary of this next round of Congress signed stimulus funding. And I don't know if there's something that's gonna come from the state or the county like we did the first time, where folks were getting in the upwards of 10,000, 20,000. So I would say that's the only thing I'm aware of that could potentially be coming our way, might be through the feds, through either the state or the county, but we don't know what that is yet. I don't know if it's exactly like it was the last time, or this time it's gonna go through OEDIT, Energize Colorado, some of the other opportunities. So I'm committed to letting our community know when I do find out opportunities. But that's the only other thing I'm aware of at this point.
Yeah, and Lola, every time I'm looking for more resources, I'm going to the Women's Chamber website. You guys are great at posting new opportunities there. I'm also going to the SBDC website. They got another fantastic site there with a lot of resources. So,
Right.
You know, to Yemi's point, these things are evolving. There's more to come as time passes. And so my advice to chamber members and business owners out there is to constantly kind of revisit those sites. Go back to the Women's Chamber site, see if there's any new postings there. Go back to the SBDC. And if you have a friend at the SBDC, reach out to them as well. Or reach out to Aileen or myself. I mean, there's a lot of people that are trying to stay in touch with grants and opportunities for these small businesses. So really dig deep this year, guys, because there's a lot of opportunity to take advantage of that in 2021.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yes.
Brandon is spot on. I think the course.
Okay, we do have a couple of other questions that have come in. Walt
Like
Martin,
that, if you just keep thinking kind of significant.
You froze up there, Yemi.
Yeah, Yemi froze up a little bit.
If you just keep checking.
yeah, he's now on mute.
I heard.
There you go.
I heard someone, so I stopped. I didn't. I heard something, so I thought I just. But I feel like I got my my ideas out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Yemi. Thank you, Yemi, for all you do. There was another chat that Terry said in the chat box.
A couple more questions. Walt Martin would like to know, can we use the simplified forgiveness form for PP2 for the PP1 loans?
The answer is yes.
Yay. Yeah, we like anything that simplifies our life, right?
Yeah, no kidding. We were really anxious to get that out, and probably 2 months ago, Steve Mnuchin passed it where the ones under 50,000 had a simplified form, but it didn't feel simplified when it was all said and done. So this new one, it truly will be, and we're excited about that.
Great. And Dion Cote, I may be mispronouncing that, wants to know, although the startup of our business is on hold, this is interesting information. How many businesses have applied for loans at your bank?
So Vectra Bank is part of Zion's Bancorp. We were the 10th largest bank in the country to do PPP loans. My branch in specific, I did 164 of these in the first round, and I have 25 in my queue right now that I'll be working on tonight when I get off this call.
You know, it depends on the size of the bank. I think, I don't remember our total numbers. It was definitely over 200 for 5-star. And I probably have around 20 going on right now. I know some of the larger banks that are on this call as well have hundreds and hundreds of loans and thousands of dollars. I think, you know, most banks have done a really good job. The bigger banks, they have lots of customers. And so just be patient with your bank and work with your loan officer. And, you know, everyone worked really hard. I think all banks worked really hard to serve their customers. I know there was a lot of frustrations the first round. The second round is going to be much simpler for everyone around because we've learned our lessons on round 1, and round 2 will be smoother. It'll be a lot smoother.
You know, to your point, you know, if you bank at a large bank, a Wells Fargo, a Chase, a Bank of America, please do your application with them. But here's the thing. They weren't as good at having that granular conversation with their clients. But just know that if you did apply with them, they were still processing them and getting them through the queue. So if you already have put your app with one of those places and you're just looking for more information, reach out to me. I'm happy to have the conversation. I did that many times with several of my old Chase clients, and we talked through what it looked like, even though they weren't getting a lot of that communication. It's still there and available. So I'm happy to have that conversation regardless if you're doing the loan with me or not, guys.
No, I just want to chime out, and I want to kudos everyone here on this call, including the ones that aren't here. You know, Eileen is here, Brandon's here. There are many other banks, Bank of Colorado. I mean, I could go on and on and on of our local banks. They have really done an amazing job of stepping up and serving our small business community. You know, when you talk about banking, you talk about community. That's where you got to go. And in a time of crisis, it's amazing what they've done. And when you have that face-to-face relationship and that face-to-face contact with your banker, your local banker, to do that, makes a big difference in these challenging times. So I want to give out a shout to all of those bankers that are within the Women's Chamber, all of those people who support this community, Bank of Colorado, you know, all of them, you know, Academy Bank, Vectra Bank, you know, I could go on and on and on. And, you know, I'll go on and on and on. Those people are vested in serving our small business community. So reach out to them. They're here to support you. They're here to make sure you get through these challenging times. And I know there's so much out there that it's hard to understand all of these ins and outs, but that's what they're there for. And so I thank each and every one of you for doing a remarkable job. You've done a great job in serving. And there's Brandon with his like little keynotes, his heart and his thumbs up. Go Brandon for doing
Better
all
than
that.
this one.
Yes, better than that one.
That's great. I love it.
I love you, Brandon. You're good. And I also want to give a personal thank you to Yemi. Yemi, we just started developing and growing a collaborative relationship between the city and the Southern Colorado Women's Chamber when if you want to call it if you want to say the hell hit the fan or however you want to say it. And I thank you for everything that you're doing on the city level. In many cases, this has not been easy. And on top of it, balancing that with being a small business owner, the challenges that each and every one of our businesses face, and having somebody at the city level representing that and walking in the shoes that our members have to walk in means a lot to all of us. So I thank you for that as well. So any other questions that we have before we continue on? And Terry acknowledges all of the great supporters and sponsors of our programming, as well as the up programming that we are doing moving forward for our luncheon and a couple of workshops that will help our businesses rebound.
Right. So our sponsor for today's town hall is a new member, Benson Capital. So we would like to thank them for getting on board right away, getting involved and making a difference to help us present this information to the community. One thing I did want to say regarding Yemi's, he talked about Colorado Open for Biz, and it's a step-by-step how to figure out if you're starting a business in Colorado Springs. But I will tell you, as having been the business librarian for 34 years at the library, the information that's on there, I use with people who are in business now and thinking about expansions. Who do I need to contact in order to expand my business? So if you're looking at taking a different track on your business, go ahead and look at that page and see who all's out there to support you. There's a lot of support in this city for small businesses as well as large ones, but you can get a lot of information. You just need to know where to go. Again, Small Business Development Center has a really great web page. The Women's Chamber has a really great web page. The city also does. Use all of the resources you have. And if you're not sure what they are, talk to anybody who's been a speaker here. We can help direct you into the right area. So Lola, do you have anything else you want to share about the chamber?
If anybody wants to stay on the call afterwards, I'll stay on for the last couple of minutes. But I do want to say we have an amazing program coming up for our luncheon next week. We have moved our programming as the governor opens up business to 25% capacity. We are going to hybrid mode starting next week. Our luncheons will be hybrid, both virtual and online. We have an amazing speaker who is doing assessments. We have used all of our funding and our support from our grant money to provide our businesses innovation, how to innovate your business for 2021. There's an assessment, and everybody that registers for it will not only get that information and the results of that, but they will also receive a book is, how to drive your business. Innovation is everyone's business, from our keynote speaker on that. We also have an amazing workshop happening, and everybody will receive a 12-month support and resource on this. They will also get how to do business in America in 2021 following COVID. This is from experts at the highest level. That workshop will be happening in February. We have delved in all of our resources and support to provide this to all small businesses. These are remarkable programming that we are doing, and we are pushing the needle in all of that to make sure you have all the resources. Lastly, for those businesses, as you know, what makes us unique as a Women's Chamber of Commerce is that we actually walk you through every challenge you might face. So if your business or who you work for any of that, you need to be walked through a grant process. We have people in committees that walk you through that. I want to share this final last story, and I think it's very impactful. And I'm just going to say this. We had a restaurant that called us that didn't think they can make it through the rest of this year. And when grant funding came out, they said they're too busy running their business. They don't understand the process. They don't know how to fill the forms out. They don't know where to go. And we walked this business through that. This is a well-known business in the community. You guys would know. They have businesses here. They've been in Colorado Springs for a very long time. We helped them get through the grant processing from El Paso County, and they received $20,000 in grant funding. That's just an example of one business. When that happened, they were able to keep their employees employed and continue to work. That's the kind of level. It's one thing just throwing the information out there. It's another thing holding your hand through it all. And that's the one thing that we do here at the Southern Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce. We have the resources, we have the contacts to get you in touch with that. And I think each and every one of our speakers who I know are committed to serving the greater good of our community and making 2021 a better year than 2020.
Right. So our next town hall will be Thursday, February 11 from 4 to 5 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you at that as well. But do remember, you can contact the Women's Chamber in between if you've got questions on anything we can help direct you to. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody.
Lola's going to stay on if anybody wants to talk to her about anything else. So
Yeah, I'm available.
yeah, just hang out and unmute yourself so you can talk to her if you'd like to.
That sounds
Thanks,
good.
everybody.
You can shut off recording now. Thank you.
Thank you.